Hi guys, what's up? Today I have a story time for you guys. I know you guys love these videos. This one is a little bit more serious, I guess. In the beginning when I started making storytime videos, I didn't really plan on ever making this video for some reason, but I feel like it's kind of like a big thing that happened in my life that kind of shaped me to who I am today, and it also leads into how I met my best friend, which was like one of the only positive things that came out of this, but it's a pretty big event in my life, and I know you guys like to hear about my life stories, and it makes you guys feel like we're closer and like we're friends, and that's exactly how I want you guys to feel. So I'm going to tell you one of the craziest stories of my life, in a way technically, because it was just such a big deal to me at the time. Alright, let's get into it. So this all started back in March of 2013, right around the time when Ariana Grande's song came out, The Way. That was the jam. Back in the day, before Tinder, there was this site called Meet Me. It was an app and it was a website, and it was sort of like Tinder, sort of like Plenty of Fish, kind of like a mix of both, I guess. And I decided to make a profile. All of a sudden, I stumbled across this really cute guy, and we're just gonna call him Jay. And he seemed really sweet, really nice. I can't remember who messaged who first, but somehow we got messaging, and the second I started talking to him, I just felt like I really could grow to like him. He was so sweet. He was calling me like princess and stuff like that, but honestly, if somebody's calling you princess the first day you start talking to them, that should be a warning sign. But these are things that I didn't know back then. This was literally the start to my dating life, and I really had no idea what I was doing or, you know, any bad signs to look for. I just kind of went into this blindly, and I fell really quickly back then. So we exchanged numbers and we started texting. Now, he was the kind of guy that could sweep you off of your feet. Anything he said was he just always knew what to say, if that makes sense. He was one of the sweetest guys I've ever met up until this point of my life, and I was honestly starting to fall for him. I found out that he lived 2 hours away, which was Orange County. I don't remember if I've mentioned that already or not. But he lived in Orange County, so it wasn't like we could meet up really quick or anything. It wasn't that simple. I was brand new to driving, and I don't think he had a car at the time. I think he was using his parents' car, so it wasn't super easy. Anyway, really soon into talking with him, we had decided to meet up. And we would plan these meetups, and they would never happen. We would set up these official plans. He'd be like, yes, I'm coming to see you. My friends are driving down there. I'm going to go with them, and then I'll go see you. And I was like, perfect. He kept failing me. It was very weird. Even though we haven't met, we were very emotional about it. I would get really upset, and he would get upset too, but then we'd get in a fight, and then he'd come back to me, or I'd come back to him. It almost felt like we were in a relationship. Which, the funny thing about this story is that we never technically were. We were growing to like each other, but he was failing me a lot, and my friends and family started to question if he was a catfish or not. We seriously thought he was a catfish because he would not just come to meet me. He was so scared to meet me, and it just didn't make sense. He would come down to my town to skateboard all the time with his friends. They would all drive together and go to the popular skate parks in my area. And sometimes when he would do that, he still wouldn't come to see me. So I always felt like there was something going on. There was some kind of reason as to why he wouldn't officially come meet me. It didn't make sense. I also remember one time during this point of time where we were talking for about 3 months or 2 months maybe, and we hadn't met yet, that I went to Disneyland one night for the all-nighter 24-hour thing, and he was there too. And he refused to meet me. We were kind of in a fight at this point, and you know, if a guy really liked you, and regardless if you were in a fight, if it had been so hard to see each other previously, he would have met up with me if he really wanted to see me. So during this whole thing, we would text every single day. I would get a good morning text from him every single morning, vice versa. He would get one from me. It really felt like a relationship, and I started to fall for this guy really hard. Me and Jay were going pretty strong in the weirdest way possible. And I honestly started to feel like this guy could be my first real relationship, and I could really like this guy. Alright, so this is kind of when it starts to go up and down, and it starts to turn into a roller coaster. But this was one of the lowest parts, and I'm talking about one of the lowest parts of this whole thing with Jay. So I worked at the movie theater at this point when I was talking to Jay, and I was headed into my shift, and about 2 days prior to this, I was kind of starting to feel distance between us, and I was very nervous. I was super on edge because I thought he would just cut me off, because we had both done stuff like that before. Like, he's the kind of guy that can cut you off without any remorse. So I really liked him still at this point, and I felt that disconnect, and I was nervous. So I go into work, and I'm chilling working at the concession stand, and I was a little bit of a rebel, and I like to keep my phone on me, even though we were totally not allowed to do that. So I would keep my phone in my back pocket, and I would go to the back of the concessions and check my phone every once in a while. So I remember going to the back of concessions, and I was in like one of the side concession stands, not the main one. So it was less busy, and there was only one other worker with me. So I went to the back, I checked my phone, and I got a text message from Jay, and it said, "Please don't ever bother to contact me again. I found another girl. Please, leave me alone. We're done." It was one of the most rude and blunt text messages I'd ever gotten in my life. I was so heartbroken in that moment because I'd been talking to this guy for 2 to 3 months already, and he'd really kind of started to steal my heart, and I really liked him, and I thought I had done the same to him. So it was so crazy. I was taken so off guard, and I literally started bawling in the back of concessions, and I was bawling my eyes out. That was one of the most heartbreaking things he did to me up until this point. It got much worse later. This is where it gets kind of funny and interesting. After this happened, I would still stalk his Instagram, and let me just tell you, he had blocked my Instagram right after he sent me that text message. So, this guy is, saying how much he likes me. We are talking for months and months and months. It feels really real. Just everything about him. It's really hard to explain how, real it felt to me and why I was so heartbroken about it. But, yeah, it had been so long, and this guy made it so easy to cut me off. So he blocked me on Instagram as well, which is so pointless. I ended up making a fake Instagram profile back then, yes, and I went on his Instagram, and guess who his Women Crush Wednesday was, about a day after he had texted me that horrible text message. It was my best friend, Kava. So I was like, no, bitch, no, no. That's my man. Even though I'm pissed at him right now and he's being a jerk, you're not gonna end up with him. I'm gonna end up with him. So I hated this girl named Kava for a solid, couple months of my life, which is very funny because, as you all know, I mention her in probably every single video or Storytime video that she is my best friend still to this day. She had also found out about me. She'd seen me comment on his pictures previously, so we had known about each other, but we had no idea what was really going on. But all I can tell you is that we hated each other. After this whole ordeal, he finally begs for me back, literally on his knees. Well, not literally because he wasn't there, and he apparently dumps Kava at this point, or he just is done with her, and he comes back to me for whatever reason his crazy mind was going for. I don't know. Surprisingly, which I probably would not do now, but I had very strong feelings for this man, so I decided to, accept him back into my life. At this point, he started to take things more seriously, which was very encouraging to me. During this time, I had bought a puppy as my graduation present. His name was Benjamin. He was the cutest little fluff ball you've ever seen in your entire life. And it ended up that I couldn't keep him anywhere, and I had to give him away. So guess what I thought in the back of my mind would keep this guy attached to me? I thought this was the smartest idea. No. I decided to ask Jay if he could keep Benjamin until I could find a place for him. So, the first time Jay ever met me was to pick up my puppy and take him back home with himself and like basically keep him. So Jay still has Benjamin to this day. I think he gave him to his sister, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so the first time we ever met, I ended up handing him over my puppy, and I had to start work, I think, or something like that, and so he had to go kind of quick after that first meet. But he took my puppy, still has the puppy, and that was the last time I ever saw Benjamin. But I didn't really care because I was so in love, and I assumed, you know, we'd be together at some point and then I could go see Benjamin. He started coming down more frequently and actually making an effort to see me. He came down one day and he met me at the side of my work, and we talked a little bit, and we talked kind of seriously. We talked about being in a relationship, and I think he was a little bit hesitant about it, and obviously I know why now, but you know, we just talked a lot like that, and then we decided to start to make it work. We decided to see if we could be together. So a couple days later, after that meet that I just talked about, he decided to come down and spend the night. So my mom allowed him to stay at our apartment, and he met my mom and everything. So he came down and we went to a movie first. And so we went to my work and we saw a movie together. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it was This Is the End, actually, which is my favorite movie. And we went to go see that movie in theaters, and then after that we went to the beach and we sat on this bench, and that is the bench in which I have sat with a lot of dates, so it's very awkward. But we just had like basically a really great night, and then we came home afterwards and he met my mom, and you know, I started to feel like this is the one. I've never really introduced a guy to my parents in my life. I've never liked a guy that much. Still to this day, I don't think I have ever introduced a guy to my parents who I was serious in seeing. My mom liked him, my mom thought he was cute, all that stuff, so we ended up just like bonding. He slept over, we slept in the same bed. We were just getting like closer, you know? I really felt like I really kind of loved this guy. So the next morning he goes home and I have work, and he texts me this super long text message about how much he loves me. He told me he loved me multiple times at this point. How he would never love another girl like me, how I'm the most like amazing girl he's ever met in his entire life. Just basically the sweetest thing that a guy has ever said to me. And it was the best feeling in the world. I really thought this guy was legit. Well, after this amazing time that we had when he came down to my house and met my parents and all that, things started to get weird again. So he started to make up all these lies of why we couldn't be together. He started discussing really personal things about his family, telling me that his family is like splitting up for this certain reason that I'm not going to share on camera because I really don't know 100% if it's true or not, but I'm pretty sure all of this I found out came to be lies. He said he was moving farther north, so like past LA area, and that, you know, it would just be impossible for us to be together. Me in my very in love young girl state, I said, you know, I would love to drive that, like I would drive basically any distance for you, like it doesn't matter, I just want to be with you, blah blah blah, like I'll help you, like money wise. Like he was saying how he had to take care of his family and now all the responsibility was on him and he had to take care of his mom, and he was just like freaking out to where he's basically saying, I don't have time for you or this relationship, we can't be together. And this was a couple days after this amazing meetup and after everything was so great with us. So it just really didn't make sense to me. And so basically for the second time he completely cut me off again. It was really late at night and I just had like a mental breakdown. He played so many mind games, he messed with my mind so much. I thought I was in love with this guy, but he was insane. I literally had a meltdown, and he called me and he said, I'm coming down there, like, you're gonna be okay, like, we're gonna be okay, we're gonna make this work. I'm driving from Orange County to your house right now, which I live in San Diego, and we're gonna, like, fix this, we're gonna mend this. So he drove down to me at around 2 a.m. and we talked it out, we made everything better, and then he drove back up at like 6 a.m. because he had work. So that was something huge that I'll never forget, because, you know, he makes it seem like he can cut me off so easily and that he's lying and he doesn't care about me, but then he does things like drive down from Orange County to me at 3 a.m. Just to be with me because I was so sad, you know? So he just was the most confusing man I've ever met in my life. After this, he once again continued the lies and tried to officially cut me off for good. He had done so much to me at this point that I just was literally done. I couldn't handle it anymore. That I remember feeling extremely sick, and I actually had to go to the emergency room, and I'm pretty positive it was because of him. He just like drove me so crazy that I just physically and mentally felt so sick all over. I honestly thought I was gonna die. I went to the emergency room. I had to get MRI scans, which they like put you in that little tube and scan your brain for about an hour. I had to get a spinal tap, which is making me super weak right now talking about. They basically stick a needle in your spine. So I had to endure all this pain. They gave me like Xanax. I was acting crazy. It was just this whole ordeal, and I remember texting him during this time saying, like, you know, you did this to me, like, blah blah blah, and I was just freaking out at him, and he didn't care at all. And I'll never forget that. He said, you know, like, you're doing this to yourself, you're being crazy, like, leave me alone. I was going through an extremely hard time. We were about like 5-6 months into this relationship, and that's how he would treat me going through a really hard time. So obviously he was everywhere, and he was extremely confusing. I didn't understand you know, what was going to happen with us, but obviously at this point I'm starting to get the feeling that maybe this guy isn't right for me. He is just all over the place. So a couple days later, let's just fast forward to the end of this whole ordeal. So after this, technically we weren't really talking, but I still felt like we had this connection. I still felt like it wasn't over, because every time he would try to end it, he would come back to me. Every time I tried to end it, I would come back to him. We couldn't get away from each other. He was one of the only guys that I seriously told them I loved them, the only time. And, you know, he told me the same, and guys don't really tell you they love you unless they really mean it. I didn't really think it was over until this happened. So a couple days later, I decided to do some digging and go online like I usually do and just kind of see what he was up to, and most importantly, I wanted to see if he had recreated a profile on that Meet Me dating website. And so I searched his name on the website, and I found a profile, which was his profile, and it had been active for 3 months. Which means, from the point of me giving Benjamin to him, which is my puppy, to the point of all of our dates and meets, and when he was meeting my parents, when he drove down to me at 3 a.m., to all the good stuff that happened in our relationship, from the point where he told me he loved me, he had been on this dating website, and I got to see all the statuses, all the pictures, all the girls he was talking to, and I saw Kava on there. So that was where he met Kava, and he was clearly still talking to her. They were clearly still a thing. Like, if anything, she was his #1 girl that I could tell. Until I started unraveling more, and I found more girls. So some other girls wouldn't really talk to me. I'm not really sure about the other girls, but I know for positive Jay was also dating Kava and this other girl, Karina, which I still talk to this day, but she lives in Florida, so, you know, we don't like hang out or anything like me and Kava do, but we probably would all be best friends if Karina lived here. So I found out about all these girls, and I sent him The longest text. I sent him like 50 text messages. I've never been so mad and heartbroken in my life because I had felt like everything we'd ever been through, like this guy that I really, really thought I loved and I told I loved, was just lying to me the whole time and didn't really mean anything that he said to me. That was the first time I realized that somebody can lie to your face. Somebody can treat you so amazing, but go behind your back and be doing completely shady things. Like, that was the start of my trust issues. He didn't really have much to say during this point. That was the end of us for sure. Every once in a while, maybe like every 6 months, he would try to text message me, or we matched on Tinder once like last year. And so it's just been like this whole roller coaster. I actually ended up meeting up with him 2 times after the whole thing, which is very naive of me, but I wanted to see if those feelings could come back and if he really had changed, which he never changed ever, so he was always going to be the same guy as far as I'm concerned. And just a little update point, he is now with girlfriend, with baby mama, and he has a child. So, never going back to that, but yeah, he's a dad now, so that's a thing. That is it for my story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's definitely one of the most personal stories to me, I feel like, but I'm really happy that I shared it with you guys, so definitely give this video a thumbs up. It means so much to me. Also, follow me on my social media. The links are down below. And also, of course, last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I upload videos every Monday and Friday, so you're going to get 2 videos a week, and it'll notify you every time I upload. I will see your lovely faces in my next video. Bye, guys.